Have you ever dreamed of standing in a place so raw, so untouched, that it feels like Earth before time began? Where glaciers groan as they move, where bald eagles glide over turquoise waters, and where the silence of vast open wilderness is louder than any words. Welcome to Alaska. This is not just a destination, it's a feeling, a moment, a reminder of how small we are and how grand the world can truly be. They call it the last frontier, not because it's the end, but because it's one of the last places on Earth where wildness still reigns. Over the next 30 minutes, I'll take you on a journey across the most spectacular places in Alaska, not just the ones you've seen in magazines, but the soul-shaking, heart-opening corners of this land that leave you forever changed. Let's begin where the sky meets the mountain, in the legendary Denali National Park. Denali isn't just a national park, it's a universe of its own. 6 million acres of wilderness, bigger than the entire state of Vermont, where there are more moose than people, and where wolves still roam free. At its center is Denali, the mountain that gives the park its name. Formerly known as Mount McKinley, Denali means the high one in the native Koyukon language, and it lives up to that name. Towering at over 20,310 feet, Denali is the tallest peak in North America. But it's not just its height that leaves people breathless, it's its presence. When the clouds part and you finally see the full mass of this mountain rising out of the earth, it feels more like a god than a geological formation. There's only one road into Denali National Park, and private vehicles are limited. That's intentional. It's to protect the wildlife and give you a chance to witness something rare: silence, solitude, and nature in its purest form. Hop aboard the park shuttle. It'll take you deep into the wilderness where every turn reveals a new masterpiece. Sweeping tundras, snow-capped ridges, and wide-open skies that feel like forever. Keep your eyes open. You might see grizzly bears foraging in berry bushes, caribou crossing a ridge, or golden eagles riding the thermals. And then there's the big five: moose, wolves, bears, Dall sheep, and caribou. If you see all five in one day, count yourself among the lucky few. Want to feel even closer to the land? Lace up your boots and take the Savage River Loop. It's a gentle hike through a glacial valley that wraps around a crystal-clear river. You might see Arctic ground squirrels darting between rocks, or a distant bear sauntering across the slope. But if you truly want a once-in-a-lifetime moment, book a flight-seeing tour. Small planes and helicopters take off from nearby Talkeetna and soar above the vast, untouched terrain. You'll fly past Denali's summit, through ice-clad valleys and over ancient glaciers that shimmer like polished marble. Some tours even land on a glacier, allowing you to step out onto a frozen world that hasn't changed in millennia. Denali is not about entertainment, it's about awakening. It's about realizing that the world still has places where nature calls the shots, and we're just humble guests. From the towering interior of Denali, we now travel south to the coast, to a place where ice flows into the sea, where orcas swim beneath towering cliffs, and where every wave tells a story thousands of years old. Welcome to Kenai Fjords National Park. Located near the charming harbor town of Seward, Kenai Fjords is a world of water, rock, and ice. It's home to over 40 glaciers, all fed by the massive Harding ice field, a frozen ocean of snow and ice that covers over 700 square miles. This park is all about contrast: sharp ridges rising from emerald bays, massive ice walls crumbling into the sea, and wildlife everywhere, on land, in the water, and in the air. Start your adventure with a boat tour from Seward. You'll glide through Resurrection Bay, past rocky islands and lush coastline, into the heart of the fjords. Along the way, you'll spot sea lions lounging on boulders, puffins flapping awkwardly through the air, and if you're lucky, humpback whales breaching in a thunderous splash. Then come the glaciers: Holgate, Ialik, Northwestern. Each one is a towering wall of ancient ice, groaning and cracking as it moves ever so slowly into the water. And when a chunk calves off and crashes into the sea, the sound is like thunder. It echoes through the fjord, followed by waves that ripple out like nature's applause. But you don't have to stay on a boat. Head inland to Exit Glacier, one of the few glaciers in Alaska that you can hike to on foot. The trail is short, scenic, and powerful. You'll pass signs that mark where the glacier used to be decades ago, offering a sobering visual of how fast our climate is changing. Want something more adventurous? Book a kayak tour through the fjords. There's nothing like paddling past icebergs in total silence, with only the splash of your paddle and the occasional bark of a sea lion in the distance. Kenai Fjords is raw, real, and unforgettable. It's a reminder that Earth is still wild, and that some of its most beautiful places are also its most fragile. But the wonders of Alaska aren't just on the ground. Sometimes they appear in the sky, glowing, shifting, and dancing across the heavens. I'm talking about the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights. From late August through mid-April, Alaska becomes one of the best places on Earth to witness this phenomenon. When conditions are right, the skies explode in color, green ribbons that shimmer, purple flashes that pulse, and sometimes a full dome of light that seems to breathe above you. Fairbanks is the most famous aurora viewing spot. It sits right under the auroral oval, the sweet spot where lights are most active, and thanks to its dry climate and long nights, you'll get plenty of clear skies for viewing. There are hotels and lodges that offer aurora alerts. They'll wake you up if the lights appear in the night, or stay at Borealis Base Camp, where you can watch the show from inside a cozy, geodesic dome with a transparent roof. Want to chase them yourself? Join a guided tour? These pros know where to find the clearest skies, often driving you far away from city lights, into remote valleys where the stars feel close enough to touch. You can also soak in the experience, literally, at Chena Hot Springs. Imagine sitting in steaming, mineral-rich waters, as the sky comes alive with color above you. The aurora isn't just a light show, it's spiritual, it feels alive. And when you see it for the first time, no photo, no video can truly prepare you. It's something you feel deep in your chest, like the universe is whispering just to you. Now we sail into one of the most remote and awe-inspiring places in North America, Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve. Located in southeast Alaska and accessible only by boat or small aircraft, Glacier Bay is a place of silence and grandeur. It's part of a massive protected ecosystem that stretches from the mountains of British Columbia to the fjords of southern Alaska, a UNESCO World Heritage Site unlike any other. Here, the landscape is in motion. Glaciers carve valleys, icebergs drift through quiet bays, and tides rise and fall over rich coastal ecosystems teeming with life. Most visitors arrive by ship, and for good reason. Sailing into Glacier Bay feels like entering a cathedral made of ice and rock. The waters are still, the cliffs are high, and around every bend, a new glacier waits. There are 16 named glaciers in the bay, and several are tidewater glaciers, meaning they reach the ocean and calve icebergs into the sea. One of the most dramatic is Marjorie Glacier, a towering river of blue-white ice over a mile wide and hundreds of feet high. You'll hear it before you see it. The cracks, the thunder, the splash. It's like the earth is exhaling. But the magic of Glacier Bay isn't just in the ice, it's in the life that thrives here. Watch for sea otters floating on their backs. They use rocks to crack open clams, a behavior found in only a few species on Earth. Scan the shorelines for brown bears. They come to the water's edge to fish or dig for roots. Look up. Bald eagles perch on tree branches or circle high above, searching for prey. Humpback whales are a common sight. In summer they feed here, rising from the deep to gulp massive mouthfuls of krill. If you're lucky, you'll witness bubble net feeding, a coordinated group hunt where the whales trap fish in spirals of air. There are no roads, no highways, no shopping malls, just you, the sea, and the cold breath of glaciers sliding into time. From the icy silence of Glacier Bay, we now head southeast to a place where Alaska's wild beauty meets its vibrant human heart, the city of Juneau. Tucked between the Gastineau Channel and towering forested mountains, Juneau is one of the most unique state capitals in the world. It's only accessible by boat or plane. No roads connect it to the rest of Alaska. This gives the city a charm that's equal parts remote and lively, wilderness and culture. Juneau is where glaciers meet galleries, where bald eagles soar above seafood markets, where indigenous heritage blends with frontier grit. Start your exploration downtown. Colorful wooden storefronts line the streets echoing the gold rush era. You'll find cozy cafes, art shops filled with lingot carvings, and historical saloons where the walls whisper stories of miners and adventurers. A short drive, or hike, takes you to one of the most iconic sites in the state, Mendenhall Glacier. Stretching 13 miles from the Juneau icefield into a bright blue lake, Mendenhall is a jaw-dropping encounter with ancient ice. Walk the trails that lead to Nugget Falls where cascading water crashes beside the glacier's blue snout, or take a kayak out on Mendenhall Lake for a closer look. Just keep your distance. Icebergs occasionally flip without warning. For a higher vantage point, ride the Mount Roberts Tramway. In just 6 minutes you'll ascend nearly 2,000 feet for panoramic views of the city, forest, and the distant peaks of the coast mountains. Juneau is also a jumping-off point for wildlife tours. Hop on a whale-watching cruise and you're almost guaranteed to see humpbacks, sometimes even orcas. In summer, hundreds of humpbacks gather here to feed, their massive tails slicing the sea as they dive deep into the cold, krill-rich water. From Juneau we sail into the legendary Inside Passage, a protected network of fjords, bays, and forested islands stretching over 500 miles from Puget Sound in Washington through southeast Alaska. This route is one of the most scenic sea journeys in the world. Imagine cruising through narrow channels flanked by cliffs, mist rising from evergreen forests, and waterfalls pouring from unseen heights. The Inside Passage is home to dozens of remote communities, each with its own character. Sitka, once the capital of Russian America, blends Orthodox domes with native Alaskan culture. Explore the Sitka National Historical Park, where Tlingit totem poles stand among spruce trees like silent guardians. Petersburg, also known as Little Norway, charms with its fishing boats, Scandinavian heritage, and vibrant waterfront. It's less touristy, more authentic, a true Alaskan town still shaped by the rhythms of the sea. Ketchikan, often the first stop for cruise ships entering Alaska, boasts colorful stilted houses, the world's largest collection of totem poles, and access to the sprawling Tongass National Forest, the largest temperate rainforest on Earth. And let's talk about the Tongass. This forest is ancient, wild, and wet, a green cathedral of spruce and cedar, moss-draped trees and hidden trails. Bears fish in its salmon-rich streams, wolves howl in its shadows, and some of its trees have stood for over 800 years. Hiking here is like stepping back into a primeval world. One moment you're walking under a canopy of dripping branches, the next, you're face to face with a mother black bear teaching her cubs to fish. Whether you cruise, kayak, or ferry through the Inside Passage, you'll never forget the stillness, the mystery, and the magic of this waterbound wilderness. Now we head to a park so big, it's hard to wrap your mind around. A place that makes other parks look like backyards. Welcome to Wrangell-St. Elias National Park and Preserve, the largest national park in the United States. How big is it? Over 13 million acres. That's larger than Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Switzerland combined. This park is raw, rugged, and remote. It's where you go to feel small, to feel alive. The park is home to 9 of the 16 tallest peaks in the U.S., massive glaciers, roaring rivers, and entire mountain ranges. It's Alaska at its most extreme. You can hike across fields of wildflowers one day and stand on the surface of a glacier the next. Take a bush plane from McCarthy or Kennecott and land on an ice field that stretches to the horizon. Or visit the historic Kennecott Mines, a ghost town frozen in time, once home to hundreds of copper miners who lived at the edge of the wilderness. Wrangell-St. Elias is not easy to access. The roads are rough, the distances are vast, but that's what makes it special. There are no crowds here, no tour buses, just you, the wind, and the ancient bones of the earth. It's not for everyone. But if you crave adventure, solitude, and the feeling of discovering something truly wild, this park will steal your heart. Our journey continues southwest to a place known for two things: lush, green landscapes and some of the largest bears on the planet. Welcome to Kodiak Island. Sometimes called Alaska's Emerald Isle, Kodiak is a land of rolling hills, misty beaches, and thick spruce forests. It's also home to the Kodiak brown bear, a subspecies that rivals the polar bear in size and power. There are over 3,500 brown bears on the island, more bears than people. And yet, despite its reputation, Kodiak is peaceful. Its main town, also named Kodiak, is a quiet fishing port with Russian roots, small-town charm, and unbeatable seafood. Take a bear viewing tour from town. You'll fly in a float plane to remote riverbanks where bears come to fish for salmon. Watching a 1,000-pound creature pluck fish from the water with calm precision, it's humbling. Beyond the bears, Kodiak is rich in marine life. Puffins nest in the cliffs. Sea lions lounge on rocky shores, and whales pass by during their seasonal migrations. Hike through Fort Abercrombie State Park, a coastal forest with trails, World War II bunkers, and cliffside views that make you feel like you've reached the edge of the continent. For a slower pace, wander along black sand beaches, explore tide pools, or join a fishing charter and try your hand at halibut or salmon fishing. Kodiak is Alaska's best-kept secret, wild, green, and deeply alive. And deeply... And now we visit one of the most iconic wildlife destinations in the world, a place that defines what it means to be wild. Welcome to Katmai National Park and Preserve. Katmai is famous for one thing above all: bears. Big bears, hundreds of them. This park is home to one of the largest populations of brown bears on Earth, and the most famous bear-watching site on the planet, Brooks Falls. If you've ever seen a photo of a bear standing in a waterfall, catching salmon mid-air, it was probably taken here. Each summer, thousands of sockeye salmon fight their way upstream to spawn, and the bears, they wait. They stand in the rushing water, jaws open, waiting for a salmon to leap into their mouths. It's not just a spectacle, it's a front-row seat to one of nature's oldest dramas. The best part? You can watch it up close, safely, from elevated platforms that let you see everything without disturbing the wildlife. But Katmai is more than just bears. It's a volcanic landscape shaped by fire and ash. In 1912, the largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century happened right here, at Nova Rupta. The blast created the Valley of 10,000 Smokes, a surreal landscape of ash plains, steam vents, and hardened lava flows. Hiking in the valley feels like exploring another planet. Katmai is hard to get to. You'll need to fly from Anchorage to King Salmon, then take a float plane to the park. But once you arrive, you'll never forget it. From the salmon-rich rivers of Katmai, we now journey to one of the most remote and mysterious parts of the United States. A place with no roads, no trails, and no signs. Just pure wilderness. Welcome to Gates of the Arctic National Park. There are national parks, and then there's Gates of the Arctic. This is the wildest of them all. Located entirely north of the Arctic Circle, this park is a staggering 8.4 million acres of untouched land, with not a single road, trail, or visitor center within its borders. It's called the Gates because of two dramatic peaks, Frigid Crags and Boreal Mountain, that guard the entrance to the Central Brooks Range. But this isn't just a park, it's a test of your soul. Here you'll find tundra valleys that stretch forever, glacial rivers carving ancient paths, and caribou migrations that echo across the plains. Wolves, grizzlies, and Arctic foxes call this place home. Unseen, unheard, but always near. This park is for the bold. Access usually begins with a bush plane. Tiny aircraft landing on gravel bars or open tundra, dropping off explorers, fishermen, and adventurers with only a satellite phone and a bear canister. Visitors don't come here for attractions, they come for connection, to hike where no one has ever hiked, to drink from clear rivers flowing since the Ice Age, to sit in silence for hours and feel the earth breathe beneath you. You can spend days or weeks here and never see another human being. And for some, that's the point. Gates of the Arctic doesn't ask for your attention, it demands your respect. From the Arctic mountains we fly west, to the far edges of Alaska's frontier, a place rich in history, culture, and gold. Welcome to Nome. Once the epicenter of a wild gold rush, Nome today is a remote coastal town that blends indigenous heritage, stormy seas, and a unique way of life that exists nowhere else in America. There are no highways connecting Nome to the rest of the state. You get here by plane, or if you're extremely lucky, by ship. Yet Nome's isolation is what makes it shine. This is the finish line of the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, a legendary 1,000-mile journey from Anchorage across frozen rivers, vast tundras, and snow-covered mountains. Each March, dog teams arrive in Nome under the shimmering northern lights, greeted by cheering locals and a world in awe. But Nome isn't just about dogs or gold, it's a gateway to ancient cultures. The native Inupiat people have called this region home for thousands of years. Here, subsistence living still thrives, fishing, hunting, gathering. in rhythm with the seasons. Explore the beaches of Nome, where old gold dredges still lie rusting in the sand. Take a drive on one of the only 3 roads out of town, each one fading into the tundra. On a clear day you can look out across the Bering Sea and imagine Russia beyond the horizon. It's closer than you think. In Nome you feel both the history of man and the timeless presence of the land. Even farther north lies a town on the edge of everything. Welcome to Utqiaġvik, formerly known as Barrow, the northernmost settlement in the United States. Located 330 miles above the Arctic Circle, Utqiaġvik is a place where the sun doesn't set for 83 days in summer, and doesn't rise for 65 days in winter. It's a place where the land is frozen, but the culture is warm. The Inupiat people have lived here for generations, building their lives around the Arctic environment. They hunt bowhead whales, fish for Arctic char, and thrive in conditions most people can't even imagine. You won't find flashy hotels or fancy restaurants here, but you will find resilience, tradition, and one of the most powerful human-nature relationships on Earth. Walk to the whalebone arch on the edge of town. It stands like a frozen monument looking out toward the Arctic Ocean. This is where hunters launch their skin boats into the ice. This is where the ocean becomes a road. Visit the Inupiat Heritage Center to learn the stories passed down through countless winters. Stories of survival, spirit, and honor. And if you're here during polar night, step outside on a windless night and look up. There's no city glow, no sound, only stars, auroras, and the breath of the north. Utqiaġvik is not a tourist town. It doesn't try to impress, it just exists, defiantly beautifully at the top of the world. Let's take a moment to dive deeper into one of Alaska's most enchanting experiences, chasing the Aurora Borealis. The northern lights are more than just pretty colors. They are the result of solar particles colliding with Earth's magnetic field, releasing energy in brilliant bursts of light. Alaska's location beneath the auroral oval makes it one of the best places in the world to view them. Best time to see the aurora? Late August through early April, with peak viewing in March. Best places to watch? Fairbanks top-tier access with many aurora lodges and tour options. Wiseman, tiny, remote, and incredibly dark skies. Chena Hot Springs. Combine aurora views with geothermal soaking. Murphy Dome. Popular with locals offering wide sky visibility. Coldfoot Camp, deep in the Brooks Range. Quiet, dark, and wild. Here are some pro tips for chasing the lights. Check the KP index. This measures solar activity. Anything over 4 means high potential. Get away from city lights, the darker the better. Be patient. Sometimes they appear at 9 p.m., other times not until 2 a.m. Dress warm. It can drop to -30. Stay toasty. Use long exposure for photos. A DSLR or mirrorless camera will capture more than your eyes. The aurora is not guaranteed, but when it comes, it stuns you into silence, and leaves something glowing inside long after it's gone. Now that we've explored Alaska's wonders, let's break down how to make this journey real. Best time to visit Alaska? That depends on what you're looking for. Summer, June to August. Long days, warm weather, peak wildlife, best for hiking and cruising. Fall, September. Fall foliage, early auroras, fewer crowds. Winter, October to March. Northern lights, dog sledding, snowshoeing, and ice festivals. Spring, April, May. Shoulder season with better prices and blooming landscapes. Getting around Alaska flights? Many destinations are only reachable by air. Bush planes are a normal part of life. Rental cars available in larger towns, but roads don't go everywhere. Trains. The Alaska Railroad offers scenic rides between Anchorage, Denali, and Fairbanks. Ferries. The Alaska Marine Highway connects coastal communities, perfect for slow travel. Must-pack items, layers, temperatures can shift quickly. Bug spray. Summer mosquitoes are legendary. Binoculars. For wildlife spotting. Waterproof gear. Rain is common in coastal regions. A spirit of adventure, essential everywhere you go. If you want to see everything, allow at least 2 to 3 weeks, but even 1 week will change your life. Alaska isn't about checking boxes, it's about letting go and letting nature lead. Alaska is not just a destination you visit, it's a story you become part of. It's not something you check off a list. It's something that checks in with your soul. Because here, in this vast and wild place, Time stretches differently. The air feels cleaner, the silence feels louder, and the moments, they feel infinite. In a world that constantly pushes us to go faster, Alaska whispers, slow down, watch, breathe. Let the mountains speak to you, let the rivers cleanse your mind, let the northern lights remind you that there are still miracles overhead. You come here thinking you'll see nature, but what you discover is yourself. You'll find wonder in the crunch of boots on tundra, in the echo of wolves in the distance, in the way the clouds wrap around jagged peaks like secrets they refuse to tell. You'll witness power, in crashing glaciers, in bear tracks on empty trails, in winds that sing over ancient ice. But you'll also witness peace, the kind you forgot existed, the kind that doesn't come from Wi-Fi or calendars or crowds. Because in Alaska, there are no skyscrapers to block your view, no traffic to dull your senses, no noise, except nature itself. The stillness here is not empty. It's full of meaning, full of mystery, full of life. You'll come for the views, the mountains, the fjords, the lights in the sky. But what you'll take home are the feelings, the goosebumps as a humpback breaches beside your boat, the lump in your throat as Denali reveals itself through the mist, the quiet tears when you realize this is how the earth was always meant to be. Alaska doesn't entertain you, it awakens you. It pulls back the curtain of distraction and shows you the raw, untamed beauty of this planet, and the wildness that still lives in you too, and it stays with you, long after your boots are muddy, long after your photos are posted, long after your trip is over. You'll find yourself staring out a window, remembering the way the sunlight looked on a glacier. You'll hear the word wild and feel something move in your chest. You'll crave the quiet again, the real kind, because Alaska doesn't just offer landscapes, it offers perspective. It reminds you that some places still exist where money doesn't matter, where fame doesn't reach, and where the rules are written by wind and snow, not concrete and steel. It reminds you of what matters, that adventure is still possible, that freedom is not a myth, that we are all connected to the land, the water, the animals, and to each other. In Alaska, you're not a tourist, you're a witness, a guest in nature's greatest cathedral, and that feeling, it changes you. So if you've made it this far in our journey, maybe something in your heart is already calling, maybe the wilderness is tugging at your sleeve, maybe you've always known there was a place like this, waiting for you to arrive. Now's your moment. Book that flight, pack that bag, say yes to the unknown, because the world will always try to distract you, to keep you busy, to tell you there's no time for dreams. But Alaska reminds you that dreams aren't foolish, they're necessary. And here, under the open sky, surrounded by snow and silence and stories older than history, you'll remember something powerful, that you are still wild, still free, still alive. This was Wonders of Alaska, a travel guide, yes, but more than that, a love letter to the wild, to beauty, to truth. And if this video sparked something in you, don't let it fade. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more journeys into the unseen places of this world, and most of all, share this video with someone who needs to feel alive again. Until next time, fellow traveler, keep wandering, keep dreaming, and never forget, the last frontier is real, and it's waiting for you.